Oh yeah, well, the referendum showed a kind of small majority in my constituency for leaving Britain, for leaving the European Union, and therefore I have to go along with that. But no argument for saying, what a mess. No access to the biggest market in the world.
Now, Michael, we had a shock announcement from Theresa May. She's pulled the trick out of her bag and she's announced another general election. Why has she done this?
Wonderful news. Absolutely fantastic. Why has she done it? Because she said, in fact, on the news this morning, that she needs more votes to lead the country out of Europe. And she feels a little bit alone out there in Brussels. So that's why she's gone for the election. Also, all the polls put her miles ahead. I think the poll this morning was Tories were 43% of the vote, Labour 23%, Lib Dems 12%, and all the others 10%. So she thinks that she can get a big majority, which will allow her to go for, people are saying, a hard Brexit. We actually don't know what she thinks. Don't forget that she was a Remainer originally. Maybe this is a devious plot by her to get Britain to remain. Very smart. I'd love it.
But the polls, they don't always tell the truth. And do you really think the general population of the UK really is ready for this general election?
Excellent question. Of course not. The polls, of course, are just like a photograph, a point in time. It's not a movie. So now we see 43% for Conservatives, 23% for Labour and 12% for Liberals. I think in 6 weeks' time we'll see Conservatives down to about 28%, Labour probably about 15%, and all the rest will go to Liberals, and they'll give them the majority at 40%, along with the SNPs. And the Liberal Dems, along with the SNPs, will probably, I mean, I'm just guessing right now because we don't know, will lead the House of Commons, and they will lead the vote to keep Britain in Europe. Don't forget that the vote to take Britain out of Europe was an absolute disaster, and people didn't realize it. In fact, that vote did what Germany failed to do in 2 world wars, which is basically to destroy the United Kingdom.
Now, who's going to benefit from this general election? The Lib Dems, they got a few members joining them.
And they're doing very well. I think they'll steam ahead, because the Lib Dems, by the way, are the only ones to have opposed the invocation of Article 50 in the Houses of Parliament. And why I left Labour was because Labour put a triple line vote on its MPs to vote for sending the letter of resignation from the EU, which was Article 50. And I saw the House of Parliament debate. It was a travesty of a debate. Every Labour MP who came up said, oh yeah, well, the referendum showed a kind of small majority in my constituency for leaving Britain, for leaving the European Union, and therefore I have to go along with that. But no argument for saying, what a mess. No access to the biggest market in the world, 500-600 million consumers. You only trade anyway with your very closest partners. So Britain is now going to trade with who? Iceland? Australia? Come on, they already trade with them. Anyway, under EU rules, they can't even negotiate with them right now. It's the most disastrous thing that's ever happened. Now let's actually get Britain talking again to the EU. Now, in fact, the vote of Brexit wasn't about economics. It wasn't about, in the end, low wages. It wasn't about poor income distribution. It was about immigration. That guy who looks a bit funny is going to come and take my job. Absolute rubbish. Immigrants don't take other people's jobs. They actually create employment and they create growth.
But now, could the EU be in a bit of a power play to say, well, actually, no, you've made your mind up, you've got to stick it through, no matter even if you have a general election and the population wants to stay, you have to go on this path you've chosen?
Right now, I think the EU would be so happy to see Britain back in. They would do anything to keep Britain in. So I don't think what you said is going to come to pass. In fact, the EU is doing everything to keep Britain in because they don't want to see the EU broken up. And Britain is one of the biggest economies. was the second biggest economy after Germany, and they certainly don't want to see it to go because it brings stability. Also, Britain's got the biggest military power of almost anybody. What's going to happen if they leave is the rearmament of Germany.
Is this general election a start of a U-turn on Brexit?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Michael, for joining us here today and having this wonderful discussion.
Thank you, Keys. That was really, really excellent. And on the day that Theresa May announced the election, which is a great, great gamble, but it gives the UK a chance not to destroy itself, but to rejoin the EU and make that stronger again, especially against golden bears in the background, Russia.
Well, thank you for watching today. We'll have to wait and see if that does happen. I'm Kaz Cahill, and thanks for clicking back.